Imagine That is a 2009 movie that has hilariously over-dramatized scenes which creates a comedic tone throughout the movie. The movie is centered around a mother and father co-parent dynamic. This is important to the movie because it takes place during the Father's Week of the co-parenting agreement. The father, Evan, is a workaholic, while the mother, Trish, is the main caretaker of their daughter, Olivia. Evan is competing against a co-worker named Johnny Whitefeather for a leadership position at his company, DDE. During this time, Evan is forced to watch his daughter for a week. Evan is frustrated at the idea that he has to take care of Olivia. This makes him very stressed out about his potential job promotion, but he soon realizes that Olivia's imaginary friend can help him with his job promotion. During this week together, Olivia has a choir concert on the same day that Evan has his interview for the position of the head of the department for the DDE. Evan shows up at Trish's house to tell Olivia that he is unable to go to her concert and that he would appreciate if she could give him her Guga, the blanket she uses to talk to her imaginary friends. Olivia disappointedly gives him the blanket because she knew that he needed the Guga more than she does. On Saturday, which was the day of his interview, Evan realized the importance of being present for his daughter as he saw the blanket in his briefcase. He realizes that he should be supporting his daughter instead of using her for his own benefit. Then he walks out of the interview and he goes to his daughter's concert. Before leaving for the concert, he decided to make a King costume out of office supplies, and he created a costume because of a conversation he and Olivia had at the beginning of the week. From this movie, I learned that while jobs are temporary, being part of a family is for life. A scene that has stuck to me is when Evan left his interview for his daughter's concert, because this is when Evan realizes that his daughter comes before anything else. In a sense, this scene reminds me of my mom. She would always make sure to go to my concerts or any school-related activities, because she wanted me to know that no matter what happens, she would always be there for me. Whether the family you consider is blood or not, it is important to cherish them and let them teach you how not to lose yourself. I'm Lolly for YR Raw. For this review and more, visit yr.media.
Have you ever needed something that's durable, useful, easily accessible, and has much variety? Presenting paper. Paper is very durable. And is very useful. Paper is also easily accessible and comes in a ton of variety. Buy paper now at a stationery store near you.
Hello, my name is Gabriel and I am a junior at Berkeley High.
And my name is Stephanie. I am a sophomore at Lighthouse High, and on this episode of Famous Painters, we will be discussing two celebrated painters, Salvador Dali and Vincent van Gogh. We will explore their artistic style, the impact of their art, and their personal lives.
So you can understand not just the value of the art they produced, but also who they were as human beings.
So my first question is, why did you choose to focus on Salvador Dali?
So funny story, I randomly chose Dali off of a list of Spanish painters to do a research project on for my Spanish class. So I didn't know anything about him or his artwork when I started. But as I was researching for this project, I became really interested in Dali. There are so many amazing stories about him that are hilarious, weird, and a little disturbing. I was fascinated by his public persona and also the symbolism that he uses in his artwork. I spent a long time thinking about his paintings, what they represented, and what I loved about them. So after finishing my project, I would say I was a pretty big fan of Salvador Dali. Stephanie, why did you choose to focus on Vincent van Gogh?
I chose to focus on Vincent van Gogh because he painted one of my favorite paintings. Okay, so next question is, can you give us a brief biography of Salvador Dali?
Yeah, sure. So Salvador Dali was born at the beginning of the 20th century in Spain. During his lifetime, he lived in many different countries, including France and the United States. He died at the age of 84 in Spain. So Dali's life overlapped with both world wars and the Spanish Civil War. He witnessed a lot of wars, but he never fought in any of them. World War II influenced his painting greatly, especially the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Stephanie, can you give us a brief biography of Vincent van Gogh?
Yes, Vincent van Gogh was born March 30th, 1853 in southern Netherlands. He lived in Oeuvres-sur-Oise near Paris, France. Vincent van Gogh died July 20th, 1890 by him killing himself. So our next question is, what is Salvador Dali's most famous artwork?
Dali's most famous painting is called The Persistence of Memory. It was painted in 1931, and it depicts melting clocks on a beach. One of these clocks is sort of melted over a dead tree branch. Another one is melting off of this wooden table. The Persistence of Memory is a really fascinating painting. I could look at it for hours and find new things I loved about it. In this painting, Dali was expressing the idea that time isn't rigid. It's malleable, like a melting clock is. I've seen some really hilarious parodies of this painting. There's one that I especially love that uses cats instead of clocks. The cats are lounging around like cats do. And in the context of the painting, you can't help but notice how much they look like melting clocks. I think it's hilarious. It's a really funny parody. What is Vincent van Gogh's most famous artwork?
His most famous artwork is a painting called Starry Night. What style did Salvador Dali paint in?
So Dali sorta invented his own style. He called it nuclear mysticism. This style came later in his life, but this style is what Dali is most known for. It's this iconic Dali look is what he called nuclear mysticism. Dali was heavily inspired by Picasso, Impressionism, the great Renaissance painters, and Cubism. And so he took the elements he liked from all of these different styles, and he mashed them together along with these scientific concepts, and this resulted in this iconic style. Okay, what style did Vincent van Gogh paint in?
Van Gogh painted, his style of painting was thick brushstrokes and consisted of a lot of vibrant colors. So our next question is, what was Salvador Dali's personal life like?
Salvador Dali was crazy. His public behavior often undermined his artistic genius. He would wear these long black capes, sometimes a tall black hat and a cane. He'd wax his mustache up into this ridiculous curl. This guy looked crazy. He would give these speeches about his self-importance. In one of the speeches he said, "Every morning when I wake up, I experience an exquisite joy, the joy of being Salvador Dali." So we can only speculate, but many people believe that Dali's flamboyant public persona existed only to hide something much more sinister about his character. So throughout his lifetime, Dali had this really disgusting fascination with many right-wing nationalists, including Francisco Franco in Spain, who's a Spanish dictator who did a lot of horrible things, and then debatably Hitler. Dali's public persona protected him from accountability for his support for these dictators. People would just say like, "Oh, there goes Dali," saying crazy things, supporting crazy people, painting crazy stuff, and this shielded him from accountability. He could support dictators and get away with it. At one point, he was even expelled from the Surrealist movement in Spain for his support of Hitler. But again, his support wasn't explicit, so we can only speculate. So what was Vincent van Gogh's personal life like?
His personal life was hard since he suffered from a lot of mental illnesses and since he would rarely sell his paintings. What is an interesting fact you can tell me about Salvador Dali?
Yeah, so before Salvador Dali was born, he had a brother by the same name. Now, this brother died before Salvador Dali was born, but the memory of this brother he never knew haunted Dali for his whole life. And he's spoken about this relationship he had with his brother who he never had a chance to meet. And he said, "We looked like two drops of water, but had different reflections." I just wanted to share that quote because I think it's a really beautiful quote. So what's an interesting fact you can tell me about Vincent van Gogh?
An interesting fact I can tell you is that he once cut one of his earlobes off. And our last question is, what will Salvador Dali be remembered for?
I think Dali will be remembered as a crazy dude who had crazy artistic talent. To me, the story of Dali is an example of how talented artists can have personal lives that are maybe problematic. Today, think of all the movie stars and film producers who are insanely good at what they do, but have character flaws that undermine that talent. I think Dali's story is a reminder that successful artists can also be bad people. What do you think Vincent van Gogh will be remembered for?
Well, I think he's mostly remembered for his paintings, but I feel like he should also be remembered for his life and what he struggled with.
Wow, Stephanie, thanks for sharing that story on Vincent van Gogh. I think his story is so important because it really shows how we need to support people who are dealing with mental health issues. Vincent van Gogh is someone who objectively had so much artistic talent, and I can't help but think of all the amazing things he would have done if he would have lived into his later years. Just think of all the amazing paintings that could have been but weren't, because he wasn't supported in the ways he needed to be.
What I took away from your story about Salvador Dali was that he didn't really care, and he had an amazing artwork, and he just did what he wanted, which I find pretty cool because he had a lot of confidence.
Wow, thanks, Stephanie. That was a great conversation. I feel like I learned a lot of interesting facts about Vincent van Gogh. I'm Gabriel.
And I'm Stephanie.
And thanks for listening to Famous Painters. Hope you learned something.
This is Audrey Lajeunesse with your half-awake news update for May 26, 2021. In national news, President Biden has stepped up the investigation of the origin of COVID-19. According to The Guardian, Biden has requested further information from the U.S. intelligence community to reach a conclusion of the origin of COVID-19 in a statement on May 26. After the recently exposed U.S. intelligence report revealed that 3 Wuhan researchers were hospitalized in November 2019 with coronavirus-like symptoms, the theory that COVID-19 emerged from a laboratory accident has become popular. This theory, mostly promoted by Republicans, such as former President Trump, opposes the more publicly accepted belief that COVID-19 originated naturally from animals to humans. While the Chinese government's transparency is a concern of the Biden administration, the Chinese embassy in Washington accused political forces of focusing on fault rather than prioritizing combating the pandemic. In entertainment news, the Grammys have changed several of their rules. According to Billboard, the most notable of these changes is the automatic nomination of all credited artists, songwriters, producers, recording engineers, mixers, and mastering engineers that worked on albums nominated for Album of the Year award, regardless of playing time on the album. This has been updated from the previous requirement of at least 33% playing time on the album to be nominated. According to the LA Times, the Academy also voted to remove their anonymous nomination review committees. The Grammys have been accused of snubbing Black artists in several categories in the past, and following the most recent Grammy snub of The Weeknd for Album of the Year, change is being called for. I'm Audrey LaJeunesse for Half Awake on YR Raw.
Every morning you tell yourself, I get up, do the same things over and over again. Look at yourself in the mirror. Do I have a summer body yet? Stare outside. How do people perceive me? Schoolwork, endless Zoom calls, too much screen time. Raid the pantry for the 30th time that day. Pretend you're okay. But let me ask you, what do you have to prove? Who are you living your life for if not yourself? I promise you don't have to worry about what other people think. We're all half awake anyway.
Hello, this is Martha Elizabeth for Half Awake on YR Raw. This episode is called Impacts of Social Media. We'll be discussing social media and its controversies and how it can affect people, both mentally and physically.
So there have been many discussions, reviews, and controversies revolving around social media and what people post on different platforms catered to the younger generations. We found this topic quite interesting as we felt that not only could we relate, but others could relate as well. So, getting into it, how do you think that the internet impacts teenagers' perception of themselves?
I believe that social media definitely can give teenagers a sense of like other people are there that look like me. Like if there's people who look like them racially, or somebody who has a disability but they're successful, teenagers can really look up to them and be like, oh, they're like me, but like, you know, I can strive to be that way. Of course it can have its downsides with perfection and always having to be perfect. And if somebody always shows perfection without any type of imperfection, like it can make you feel like that's what you need to be. Like imperfection is not allowed.
Yeah, I agree. Just as there's a positive side to everything, there's also a negative side. The internet could be a really helpful place for teenagers to express themselves and find others that they could relate to. However, it can also be negative as to where the person expects so much from themselves because they see other people doing so much, you know, that they think is perfect. When in reality, it could hurt the person as well, you know?
Next question is, what makes an influencer an influencer? Do influencers have a responsibility to be more mindful about what they post?
So I think that what makes an influencer is their platform, how many people view them, what they post, you know?
Right.
Do the influencers have a responsibility to be more mindful of what they post online? Yes, because they have that platform. A person who is an influencer does not want to spread negativity on other people because that could cause the other people to be in really dangerous situations, and that wouldn't be good. They have to be mindful with the fact that people are going to watch them and at times listen to them. So that could be really good and really dangerous as well.
Right. I totally agree. I think that an influencer, what makes an influencer is how big of a following they have. If they have millions of subscribers, or followers, that definitely makes them an influencer. Cause an influencer, well, anybody can be an influencer, but, that title is definitely with how big of a following you have, because you can influence a bigger group of people. I do believe that influencers have a responsibility to be more mindful of what they post, because more people internalize that, especially when it comes to teenagers, since they definitely are finding a sense of themselves and they don't really know themselves. Watching somebody and their opinions, they can internalize that on the road to having their own opinions and their own sense of themselves.
I agree. Now, is cancel culture helpful or harmful?
I definitely believe that cancel culture is definitely harmful. Because people who make small mistakes, they're definitely not allowed to go back and correct those mistakes or learn from their mistakes. They're just canceled. Their career's gone. People who once supported them are just gone so fast. So I definitely feel like there's just no room for imperfection when it comes to cancel culture, which is definitely a negative side, because humans are just imperfect. Nobody's perfect person. So definitely has more negative aspects to them than positive.
I actually think that there could be, as I said before, negative and positive sides. For example, if, as you said, if a person makes a small mistake, then many of the times they're immediately canceled, you know? However, if a person with that platform is being negative, then I think it is helpful to cancel them and to take them off of that platform, or else they're going to keep on spreading that negativity, you know? And
Correct.
that's not going to be good for
Definitely.
people to listen to and to watch.
Right, I totally agree. Another question is, people create any sort of online persona. Often, one appears to be perfect. How does this impact followers?
I feel like this could impact followers both negatively and positively. Negatively on the fact that if they always see someone who is perfect, then they're going to expect that perfection, real or not, from themselves. They're going to have high expectations for themselves that if they don't reach, then they're going to be in a very negative situation mentally and physically with themselves. However, it could also be positive in the fact that they may get inspired to better, you know?
Correct. I definitely agree with that.
So, in summary, social media can both have its negative impacts and its positive impacts. However, why do you think people should care?
People should care because it can affect them physically and mentally. It's definitely something that you need to be cautious when using, and that ties into the call to action. Definitely social media has its negative and positive parts to it, but you have to definitely be cautious. Even though those benefits can be you seeing somebody that looks like you and you're striving for that level of success, and to you fitting into something that's not you, to see humans that are perfect, which is something that is incapable for a human to be.
Yeah,
yes.
I agree. Again, this is Lisbeth and Makita on Half Awake on YR Raw. We hope you enjoy this episode on impact and social media, and have a wonderful day.
Bye.
The US version of Shameless is an adaptation of the original BAFTA award-winning British version. The show is about a poor family who lives in the south side of Chicago with 6 kids and their drunk, selfish, and narcissistic father named Frank Gallagher. The eldest daughter, Fiona, has to raise her siblings at a young age, and she had to drop out from school because of her mother's absence and her father's lack of parenting. The show explicitly shows what it is like living in poverty and the reality of many gentrified communities across the country. It is a well-written series that shows real-life struggles. There are times in the show where the Gallagher family has to do illegal things in order to survive, such as stealing food from the store, selling drugs, which was illegal at that time in Chicago, and scamming other people. In real life, the total crime rate of Southside Chicago, that includes violent crime and property crime, is around 6,000 people out of 100,000, which is 2 times larger than the total crime rates of the city of Chicago. When I was watching this show, I started thinking about how crazy it is that the things that happen in this show actually happen to people in real life. I can relate to some of the characters a little bit too much. Just like Fiona, I also tend to care about other people more than myself. The first few seasons were definitely worth watching, but in the middle of the show it was a little bit slow, just like every other show. However, it is still worth watching because it gives you another perspective in life. It explicitly shows how children at a young age sometimes experience abuse and neglect from their own parents, toxic relationships, mental illnesses, crime, drugs, and accepting their own sexualities. It shows that even though their whole life is so chaotic and it seems like nothing always goes the way they plan to be, they can still find happiness in little things. Personally, this show is that little thing for me, and I consider it as one of my comfort shows. I'm Juliana Prudente for Wire Raw. For this review and more, visit wire.media.
Want a camera to capture it all? Well, now you can! Introducing the camera! The camera is fit to help you capture the beautiful scenes of nature, your hamster trying to escape, eloquent sunset, a picture in a picture, your cousin's cartwheel fail, and so much more. The camera, capture all the memories that life has to offer.
Unpopular opinions is defined as ideas or beliefs that go against or completely contradict the conventional status quo. I'm Amalia.
And I'm Sophia.
And today we'll be talking about our controversial, unpopular opinions on different topics, such as Lady Bird, Kendall Jenner's tequila, and even chocolate. Let's talk about celebrities. So what do you think about Emma Chamberlain?
I like Emma Chamberlain. I love always seeing her pictures on my Instagram feed. She is a style icon, and I just really like her vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I love watching her YouTube videos. I'm not a huge fan, like everyone says, but I love her take on fashion, and she's just fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily consider her a celebrity.
Yeah.
Like for me, if I saw her in LA or in New York, wherever, I don't think I would go and take pictures of her. I think, or with her. I think I would I would most likely be creepy and like take pictures of her and be like, oh my god, there's Emma Chamberlain. But it's like I would be embarrassed to take pictures with her.
Yeah, same.
I don't know. What about you?
I don't know. And like freshman year, I kind of liked her. Like I tried watching her videos. They weren't really like my vibe because like I would just kind of like space out. But like her style, like she was my style inspiration for like a while until like I like kind of figured out like my own style. And then so like I have nothing against her, but she's just definitely like not for me. Like she's just not someone I really follow or like that. But I have nothing against her.
What I like most about her is just her she's like gone through a phase where now she like no longer cares about editing pictures, and it's her Instagram is way more casual, and I take inspiration in that as well. I try to make pictures just fun and like post whatever I like and not for the likes or whatever I think people will like. So I do like that about her. But I agree, her YouTube videos can be very long and just not very action packed. And then what do you think about Trisha Paytas?
Okay, I have a lot to say about her because I've been watching Frenemies. Like I binge watched all of Frenemies, at like the podcast that she does with Ethan Klein, like H3 Productions. And honestly, like coming from someone that like used to like hate her, like absolutely like despise her in like middle school and like be really upset like watching her videos, seeing her growth now is honestly like really like cool because she's genuinely trying to be like a better person and trying to like face up to like her own mistakes. And you're always supposed to give someone that like room to like grow from like their past selves and their past like mistakes. Like yeah, she's been like really racist, she's done things to like a bunch of different communities, but she's owning up to it and trying to educate herself and like, you know, trying to prove all that, like trying to prove her change with actions too, like in the podcast and like, you know, constantly getting educated. So like yeah, she's been really problematic, but I feel like she's trying to change, and for that I give her like props, you know, because you're always supposed to give someone that room to grow. But yeah, what about you?
I don't really have a strong opinion about her. I've seen her on TikTok, and I think she's funny. I think I've seen little clips of the podcast, and she just seems clueless sometimes. But I like you said, that she's trying to learn and like actively better her actions and stuff. We kind of already touched on this, so we can quickly go over it. But do you think that YouTubers equal celebrities and like influencers and Instagram and TikTok stars? Do you think they're celebrities?
No. Like, I feel like a lot of them are just, they shouldn't be considered celebrities or be really glorified in a bunch of ways that like little kids are, or like a bunch of people have been looking at these influencers. But yeah. What about you?
I completely agree. I think it's a little bit ridiculous that so many people have blown up from dancing videos and just like stupid content when there are people who are actually so talented and deserve the platform and the followers, but will never be recognized or seen because these people are just like kind of taking all the views and the space, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And of course they're like the beauty standard, and we don't really see any representation, although it is getting better.
So what about Timothée Chalamet versus Harry Styles? I know like they're both like these white, like really popular celebrities right now, so.
Yeah, well, I love Timmy. He has my heart and will forever have my heart. He's just so talented. I love all of his movies, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do in the future because he is an amazing actor. And of course, he's so cute. But he's also just a really good person. Like I last year during quarantine, I had a whole phase, as everyone did, and I had a cardboard cutout of him. Oh my God. I watched a bunch of interviews. That's when I watched all of his movies too. Nice. But yeah, I loved Timmy. Yeah. And Harry, he also seems like a good person, and I love his music, but I don't know him as well. So know him as well. Yeah. What about you?
For me, I feel like just both of them, like I have nothing against them. I think, they're both like attractive celebrities. Like Timothy is, I mean, for me, the only impression I really have of Timothy is of him in like Lady Bird, and I didn't really like him in Lady Bird. But but like I just feel like they're both over glorified celebrities that are doing like the same thing as other celebrities, especially Harry, because like I know he's taking a bunch of like inspiration from like Black celebrities or like people that have like been expressive of like their feminine side and things like that, where they don't get as much attention, whereas Harry has like been getting like all the attention, you know. So I feel like they're both
what's his name, Tyler the Creator, I think it was. He has like showed his feminine side way before Harry, and they're not really recognized.
Exactly.
And okay, well, for Kendall Jenner's tequila, what are your thoughts on that?
I just get so mad. Like, I know I'm not Mexican, I'm Salvadorian, but like just seeing the way that she's basically appropriating the culture and just like, I don't know, just profiting off of just something so relevant and so important in Mexican culture just like makes me like so mad. Like, there's thousands of other tequilas, like people that are trying to like make some or just try and make it with like, you know, their drinks, but she's like kind of taking advantage of like the whole people and the whole culture, just creating her own, and people are just like so like obsessed with her that they're not thinking about like the importance of it. It's just like they're just buying it.
And there's also like so many other things that she could have created, like anything, literally anything. Just don't like, why does it have to do something? Why does it have to do something with a culture that she's not a part of? You know, like there's so many other things that she could have produced, like her sister with makeup. Like, fine. Like, you don't need to go into this. And I know, like, oh, she's worked so hard on it, but I don't know. And like how she tries to stage it as though she's like really connecting with the people and like learning about it, but then she literally spelled it wrong. Did you see that on the tag? Like, she wrote it wrong.
It just makes me so mad.
Like, you could tell it was Google Translate. Like, it's so ungenuine. Like, it's just really sad.
Like, she claims that like she works so hard on it, but you know, it's like the people, like the production team and like all the Latinos that like she took kind of basically advantage of to create her tequila. And like, I bet you like they're getting like paid minimum wage, even less, and like it makes me so mad. And the picture she posted, oh my gosh, she tried to make herself on Instagram with like promoting her tequila. She like made herself like look like darker skin with like braids on a horse, using like Mexican men in the background as kind of like her props. It like it made me so mad.
Well, how about we segue into our favorite or not so favorite TV shows and movies?
All right. So do you want to talk about The Office?
Yes, I have very strong opinions about The Office. I hate The Office.
Oh my gosh.
I have watched a few episodes with my friends, and I just don't get, it's not funny to me. Like, I just don't get the humor. Like, yes, I'll laugh at some of the things, but overall, as a show, like, I would not sit through however many seasons. There's, like, way too many. I could not.
I love this because, like, I'm a diehard, like, Office fan. I literally have, like, an Office calendar and, like, pop figures and, like, so much. Like, it's a lot because, like, I don't know. I sat through all 9 seasons. Like, I like, dug deep into, like, information about, like, the series and stuff. But, I don't know. I, like, cried at the series finale and everything. I don't know. It's, like, I don't know. I just really liked it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't get it. It's not funny.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
but
each their own.
Everyone says the first season is the worst.
Yeah.
And I've watched a little of the first season, but I've also watched like some of other seasons, and I think it's pretty much the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
For sure.
And what do you think about Friends now that the reunion just happened? Did you watch that?
I was never a big Friends fan. I don't know. I know people call it problematic, I think, but I don't really like it like that. I just never really
I've never heard. Wait, why is it problematic?
I don't know. Something about something. I just heard about it. Like, people just always bash it and like talk about like, oh, Friends just sucks because of like this and that. I just heard about it. I don't know. But I just never really watched Friends like that to have a strong opinion. So.
Oh, yeah, I've never heard it was problematic, but I do hear that, well, I always know it's like The Office or the Friends fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Friends. Yeah. I just think it's so cute. The plot is beautiful. The characters are amazing. Mm-hmm. And it's just so, like, nostalgic.
Yeah.
Even though I watched it like last summer, like it just holds a special place in my heart. It's just so cute. Mm-hmm. And the laugh tracks and the fashion.
Yeah, the 90s
everything.
fashion
it's just so good. I love it. What about Gilmore Girls?
I love Gilmore Girls. I don't know, something about Rory and Lorelai's relationship really resonated with me.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, because like I have that type of relationship with like my mom. Like it's always kind of just like been me and her against the world. So it's just like watching them, like I could see myself like in them. So I always really loved the series.
That's so cute.
Yeah. What about you?
I love Gilmore Girls. It also has a special place in my heart. It's just so cute. And do you like Luke?
Oh my god, yes.
He was so,
Luke. I just wanted to give him a hug.
Who are you, a Jess? Are you a Jess, Dean, or what's the other guy's name?
I forgot, but
the blonde guy.
I know who you're talking about, but I forgot his name. But I'm a Dean fan all the way. Like literally Dean. Yes, Dean deserved better in my opinion. Like me and my boyfriend's mom were talking about this. We were all like, we're Team Dean. I don't know, maybe because he was cute, but like I don't know, he was just
No.
Jess was cool too, though.
Team Jess.
Jess
it was Logan.
Logan. Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
100% Team Jess.
I don't know. Jess was cool too. Like he was hot, but like I don't know, something about Dean.
No, Dean was so mean to her.
Okay, true.
I did not like, but Logan was just annoying. I did not like.
Yeah, facts.
And who do you think was? Did you watch A Day in a Life?
That was when they were like older, right? Yeah. I watched.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Okay, I watched it in one day, and it was like I was saying goodbye to a friend.
Exactly,
like it was so sad.
Exactly. I was kind of like confused though. I think she was with.
Yeah, who do you think is the dad?
I don't know. I think Logan. Yeah, it has to be.
And then Lorelai and Luke's wedding, so cute.
Yeah.
Ugh, and I loved Suki. But yeah, I love Gilmore Girls.
Same. Well, I think that's all the time we have today, so
we hope you enjoyed or maybe disagreed with our unpopular opinions, and we encourage you to speak up about whatever your opinion is, whether or not you have different popular or unpopular opinions from everyone else around you, because you never know, someone else might agree. So just express yourself and speak up about whatever you believe in, because that's really all that matters, and who cares what other people think. Thank you.
Yep. Thank
Bye.
you.
One day, my Algebra 2 teacher told me, "You gotta love the process as much as you love the price." and this has stuck with me for a while now. It's very inspirational in my opinion, but I have only really used it in context connected with soccer. And this is why. I started playing soccer in a boys' team when I was 6. There were no girls' soccer teams at the time, and I was insanely passionate about the sport. So, I joined. Back then, all I wanted was to chase after a ball and score. But after some years, this changed. I feel belittled because I was a girl playing soccer. Every boy I ever played against was expecting me to be worse than I was. I didn't understand why I was being held to such low expectations until the reason behind this was rubbed in my face. I hear the screams of the fuming dads questioning their sons if they were really going to let a girl push them around. I didn't think showing them what a girl can do was unacceptable, but once again, their words told me otherwise. I still taste the resentment of the words, "She's just a girl," in my mind and mouth. I have seen how we as women are degraded on and off the soccer field. The fact that we are women automatically makes us less than. Our paychecks don't reflect every drop of sweat spilled by us. Our equipment at the gym is mediocre compared to a man's equipment. During school, in our homes, in sports, in all of society, I realized that after some time, that disparity will continue to grow if I feel they will rage in disappointment. I kept on wanting to change those boys' mindset, but I came to the realization that I couldn't change them. Instead, I had to overcome their ideals for me and no one else.